Sleepy. But the adventure starts today. So yeah, we might have a little bit of an issue, because if I remember, if my ears are not lying to me, yep, it's raining. It's probably very hard to see, but it is fucking raining. Well, just my luck, I guess. But I guess they'll save on tires. That's the one good thing. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention what we're doing today. We're going drifting. Let's go.
Autobusy stop jest w Totale. So confusing.
mašiną?
Ne, ratus reikia pakeisti.
O, iš karto geriau jutas. vairą ir gali net spūsti gazą šiek tiek. Gazo, gazo, gazo. Sunkiai. Labiau gazuok, dirb daugiau su apsukom.
Kokie įspūdžiai? Pasaka.
O, per daug žiauriai. O, per trumpai, aišku, bet norės daugiau. Oi, oi. O, drebu dabar visas nuo adrenalino. Oi, žiauriai smagu. Oi, oi, oi.
Bet pavyko, ne?
Nu tai jo. Nu, tik ant pat galo biški plačiai pradėjau eiti. Is that for us? Let's check. Ups, 105, 106. Nu jo. I appreciate your assistance.
Alright. So, it's been about a day since the last clip you saw. I had some time to reflect on myself. Not really myself, but just in general of the whole experience. Well, first off, it was amazing. Big thank you to Side to Side for hosting these type of things. And big shout out to my friends who gave me the coupon to actually experience drifting IRL for the first time ever. It was an experience that will definitely yes, it's an experience that I will definitely never forget. That's what I wanted to say. And funny part is, it feels much easier in real life than on the sim. But side note of that, I can definitely tell you, if you are considering a simulator, if you are thinking if it works or it doesn't, I mean, it really does work. If you take out from IRL all of all the physics, all the G-forces that throw you around in the car. It is, I would dare to say, almost one-to-one. Throttle control, steering wheel control, everything feels exactly the same. And what makes it easier is that just because you have those G-forces in the real thing, you're better at feeling how the car is actually moving, and for me, that's when it clicked of why do I do certain things in the simulator? Like, why do I get back on throttle at some points? Why do I have to let go? Why do I have to counter steer at some points? When you have all the G-forces and all the physics applied in that one moment, everything clicks in one specific spot where you understand why you have done everything that you have done in the simulator, and it transfers very nicely to the real world. Obviously, simulators are not going to be exactly one-to-one unless you're drifting in BeamNG. That might be the most accurate thing to learn and to experience even car damage, mechanical sympathy, and all those kind of things. But if you really just want to learn the basics, just get a decent sim. Throw on some Assetto Corsa, throw on some mods. You don't even technically need mods. The BMW E30 and the drift map that is provided in the base game is fully enough. That's where at least I got my start in, and as you saw, I did alright. I didn't do spectacularly. I didn't expect to do spectacularly. It's not like I have hundreds of hours in the simulator. I only got 50 hours in Assetto Corsa, specifically drifting, but even then, like, 1/3 of those 50 hours is me just messing around, chilling, driving on mountain roads, custom maps. So I'd say more like between 30 and 40 hours is actual just seat time on drifting, which is not a lot. It's not a lot, but it is enough. It was enough for me to learn everything to be at least a good beginner. A good beginner. And that's what I still count myself as, just a good beginner. Because there's still a lot of shit to learn. But from this whole experience, I did finally understand what the drifters meant when they say that you feel like you're in the zone balancing an uncontrollable force. Obviously, the first time as you saw there, when I did all those skids, it was, how should I put this? It was very surreal. The adrenaline was pumping out of my head, which was kind of funny. I stepped out of the car, I took off my helmet, and then I felt all the adrenaline. My legs would turn into jelly. It was really funny. But after the adrenaline wore off, and after I had a moment to think about everything, I felt the zone, quote unquote, if you want to say it. If you want to say it like that. What I felt was like you are in a Zen state, controlling something in such perfect balance, but the thing that you are controlling is in such an uncontrollable situation. I don't know, it's really hard to explain, just because it's just a feeling. And I also understand why people say that drifting, like, yeah, you can get technique down, but everything else, you have to feel a lot of stuff, especially in the sim, considering There are no G-forces, there are no other forces like guiding your senses to be able to execute on specific moves so that you can stay in drift and do long long drifts throughout a course. It is legitimately just a feel thing. So if you're struggling or whatever, not finding any luck in it, or whatever you want to call it, or you feel like you're just not skilled enough, you definitely are. It just takes, on the simulator, it takes a lot more time just because you don't feel what the car is doing. And you legitimately just have to power through it. I remember the first time I hopped on the simulator, because I'm mainly a rally guy. I love rally way too much. But I do respect drifting a lot. It is a fantastic sport, and I really do enjoy spectating it, watching it. It is cool. It is very cool. But that said, the first time I booted up to drift, I think it took me like 20 hours to even get like one donut in. And it was very frustrating. I can admit that. It was very frustrating. I'm not ashamed to admit that. Though, after I powered through it, I started getting the hang of it. I started using more techniques. Stuff started clicking in my head. Stuff started clicking in my head, and I started to understand. Oh wait, this, if I brake, that means I tighten my angle. If I mash the gas at top of rev range, if it bangs limiter, it's gonna be very unstable. So you gotta try to be not 100% on throttle, but you want to be like 80%. Like, all these things just slowly started to kick in after those 20 hours, once I kinda started to understand how the sim feels, which is, like I said before, it is very difficult. It is, in my opinion, way harder on the sim than in real life. But if you want to learn all the techniques and everything, it is 100% worth it. Because like I said, it feels like, don't get me wrong, there's no reason to listen to me, because I've only done it once IRL, which was what you saw before, and I only have like 30 to 40 hours seat time drifting in the sim. So take what I say with a grain of salt, that's all I'm saying. But yeah, I'm still dumbfounded. Like, that was one of the coolest experiences ever. That just solidifies it in my head more that I need to somehow get into this motorsport world. Doesn't matter if it's rally or drifting or whatever. You know, it feels like I want to be here, part of this thing. And not because of adrenaline, because personally, in my opinion, if you're just an adrenaline junkie doing all of this, I don't consider you a proper sportsman. I think that's the word. Sportsman? Maybe? I don't know. I don't know. Because it's not about the adrenaline. It's about the control, it's about the way you handle the car, the way you handle different scenarios, different situations, unpredictable situations. You're just sharpening your blade, and you're just adding more tools to your toolbox. And that, I guess, is one of the things that brings me more joy in this type of environment, because you really have to adapt to every single situation you can. Same goes for drifting, rally, wheel to wheel, NASCAR, everything. You have to adapt to everything. You might have a loose steering rack or whatever, then you have to adapt to that. Like, you don't got a choice. And that's, I guess, one of the one of the more interesting things for me personally, and what I enjoy more than just simply doing other shit. And it's a good learning experience as well. You get humbled very quickly in all of these disciplines. You get humbled really quickly. Because you might think in your head like, oh, I'm just gonna do this, I have all this planned out. You flick the first turn and you see that you already 180'd. And then everything that you thought of goes out the window. Can't say that I haven't done that. I definitely have. You know, it's a good humbling experience. But that humbling experience always shows you that there's much more to learn. And the ceiling, when you're at the bottom, the ceiling seems infinite. And that's what probably I think captures a lot of people, just because they see they're a beginner, they're kind of starting to get it, they're on that first little plateau, but then they see the big ass mountain, and then they start getting hooked. They know that they can get up there, and that's one of the coolest things, like especially with drifting. Like if you're not afraid to learn, if you're dedicated enough and you have the drive for it, you don't need a full race team. You don't need top of the line parts. You don't need like top of the line suspension. Obviously, don't get me wrong, those things are very good and they're helpful. That's why they're made. But to start your whole journey, quote unquote, it is definitely not needed. You could probably even do it with a stock car. Maybe just you need to weld the diff. But then it's not really a street car at that point. So, you know, pick your poison. Pick your poison at that point. But yes. I don't know. I just rambled on for a little bit. I didn't even know what I was gonna say. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. And I don't know. We'll see if there's gonna be more in the future. I really hope there's gonna be more in the future, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But that all being said, appreciate y'all for watching. Hopefully you have a good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.